morning to all our Sunday school families. It is so nice to be with you again. As we do each Sunday, we are streaming live from the First United Methodist Church here in downtown Morris, and we welcome all of you who are joining us, maybe some of you for the very first time today. We always like to give a shout out to our tech team. We have Jim and Greg and Paul today. I know you can't see them, but they are a little bit back farther in church, but they're the reason that we're here with you. So we thank you. So we love to do a shout out to all our Sunday school kids. So I'd like to say hi to Elena and Lila and Xander and Zoe. Big shout out hello to Ellie and Delaney and Willa and Zeffie. And I usually say Brock at home, but I'm going to tell you, he's sitting out here. Brock is here with Teresa. And Zaylee and Luli and Owen and Gabe, hello. And Harper, I heard that you have a new baby brother. That's so exciting. I believe he was just born this week. And hello, Mitchell and Connor and Jackson and Dalton and Rylan. Hi, everybody. Are you enjoying your donuts right now? I wish we had some donuts here, but we're so happy that you're with us this morning. Can you believe that we're already in the month of March and we are in the third week of Lent? Remember, Lent is this very special time when we think about Jesus a lot, how much we love Jesus and how much he has done for us. He died on the cross for our sins. So during this time, we try really hard to show love and care to others. So I was wondering, how are you doing on your Lenten paper chains? You know, I'm kind of an overachiever, and I made my whole chain already. But I know, I can't help it. But I was going to try to find, let's see, today is March 7th, okay. So it's a Sunday, and it says March 7th is a day of rest and prayer. Now, let's check what yesterday was, March 6th, and it said, help someone with a chore or a job today. So I bet you did that. And then you'll find out what tomorrow is. Oh, I'm looking. I know you'll all be able to do that one, but I won't tell you what it is yet, because you'll probably put that on tomorrow on your chain. But look, kiddos, how long our chain of acts of love is going to be when we get to Easter Sunday. So I'm kind of wondering where you have that hanging in your houses. But it's a really cool thing. But, oh boy, I guess we better get going with our morning. So, as always, find your craft bag and have that ready, March 7. And get your offering box, have that ready. I'm going to put mine right here. So here's the time that you really like. It's time for the clues for our mystery guest. Okay, first hint. Jesus talks about this person in a parable that can be found in the Gospel of Luke. Wow, that could be a lot of people, couldn't it? Rylan or Mitchell, Brock, Zeffie, you want to make any guesses? Okay, I know, it's a little early. Second hint. This person helped someone who had been stripped of his clothes, beaten, and left for dead at the side of the road. Oh my gosh, it is terrible what happened to this man. Any guesses? Connor or Elena, Willa, Dalton? Okay, third hint. This man is from Samaria, and Jesus used his example of helping the beaten man who was left by the side of the road. Jesus used that example to teach us to reach out to other people who are in need. Okay, now, you have the answer? You're right. It's the Good Samaritan. Thank you, Good Samaritan, for sharing your time with us today. I can't wait to hear more about your story. I know I can learn a lot from you.
I'm so happy to be here. And I must say that I didn't know Jesus was going to use my example of helping someone in need to teach other Christians everywhere about showing love and care to others in need.
Well, Good Samaritan, it's time right now to read our Bible story to the kiddos. It is about Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. He is being a humble servant. And you also have been a humble servant with no thought of yourself at all or your needs. Would you like to help me read the story?
Yes, I sure would. Our Bible story today is from the New Testament, the Gospel of John, chapter 13, verses 1 through 17. And it's entitled, Jesus Washes His Disciples' Feet. It was just before the Passover festival, and Jesus knew that it was soon that he would be leaving them. And he wanted to let his loved ones, his disciples and friends, know how they were to proceed. He knew that hour had come for him to leave and go to his Father God in heaven. He had loved his own so much. He loved them right to the end of his life here on earth. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas Iscariot, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. That was his plan. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God, his Father. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer wraps, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water in a basin, and he began to wash the feet of his disciples, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around his waist.
He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "Those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean. And you are clean, so though not every one of you is." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said not everyone was clean.
When he had finished washing their feet, he put back his outer clothes and returned to his place at the table. "Do you understand what I have just done for you?" he asked them. "You call me your teacher and Lord, and rightfully so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly, I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is any messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them."
So, Good Samaritan, Jesus is teaching us how to humbly serve one another. He washed the dusty, dirty feet of the disciples. You must have so much to tell us about how you humbly served the poor, beaten man you found on the side of the road.
Well, I just did what needed to be done. I did what anybody should do. This man would have died if I had not stopped to help him. I should tell you first, though, that I am from Samaria, and you probably have heard that lots of Jewish people don't like Samaritans, so they probably wouldn't like me either. I was traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho. I was just walking along, and then right in front of me was a man lying at the side of the road. He had been robbed, and his clothing had been taken. All of his possessions were gone, and he was beaten so badly by these robbers. They stole everything this man had. I cleaned his wounds and gently lifted him up and put him on my donkey. I took him to the inn down the road, and I stayed with him that first night. Then the next morning, I gave the innkeeper 2 silver coins and told him to let him stay and take good care of him until I came back. Now, just so you know, I didn't even think about where this man was from. I didn't care about the color of his skin or who he was or even if he was rich or poor. He was hurt and he needed me, and I needed to help him.
Oh, you were such a good neighbor and caregiver for that man. You know, I have heard a little of your story before. In fact, Jesus has told many people about you, the Good Samaritan. I bet you didn't know that 2 other people before you just walked past that poor wounded man lying on the side of the road. They never stopped to help. The first one to pass the man was a priest, and the second one was a helper in the temple. But you stopped, helped, and you saved that man's life.
And as I said before, I was caring for my neighbor, and that's what all of us should do.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. Now the kids will have a better understanding of the teaching parable, the Good Samaritan, that Jesus used. So let's take a few minutes and look at our posters. We have them right back here. Our new faith word this month is remember, and it's kind of hiding right there. Remember to think about and not forget our faith. Now, I'm going to tell you just a little sideline because this is so funny and I can laugh at myself. So, you know, Miss Pam is here with us a lot of Sundays. A couple weeks ago, she said, well, Diane, you have the material at home because you're going to be writing now, but what's our faith word for March? And I go, oh. And so I said, I'll text you when I get home. So when I got home, I looked at the material, and our faith word is remember. But I couldn't remember. So that's just a little sidelight, and Miss Pam will laugh. She's probably watching this while she's in Indiana right now. Okay, so to remember, to think about and not forget our faith. And let's always remember how Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. This is something that servants usually did when a person entered a house after they were walking and it was dusty. So they had the servant wash the visitor's feet. But that's not what Jesus did. Jesus himself washed the feet of the disciples, and he tells us to serve each other with humility as he did. And so also, kiddos, I wrote it on this bright green. I hope our camera can get that okay. One of our verses this month is, do this in remembrance of me. And a lot of the things that we do in church, we do those in remembrance of Jesus. Just like today during church, we had communion. So I think we are just about ready to watch our DVD. And today it is Abigail. So watch for Abigail and let's see what we can learn from her today.
Greetings, friends. I'm Abigail. In our Bible story today, Jesus washes all of his disciples' feet. Their feet were dirty from walking outside because everyone wore sandals. Peter, one of Jesus' disciples, thought this was too strange. He didn't want Jesus to do it at first. Even though washing feet wasn't Jesus' job, Jesus wanted to do this to show care and love. By reading this story, we remember how Jesus loved his disciples. To remember is to think about and not forget our faith. It is important for us to remember so that we follow the awesome example that Jesus lived. We get to be a part of the story by adding new ideas for how to serve and show looks like. Faith looks like helping, serving, and loving. Sometimes doing these things surprises others, but that's not a reason to stop doing them. Last year, during lunch, I noticed there was a kid who was always eating alone. I always ate with my friends, and I wanted him to have friends too. One day, I decided to go and eat with the kid who was alone, and my friends didn't understand. My best friend said, "Why are you doing that?" After a few lunches, my friends wanted all of us to sit together. They realized we could all show love. My new friend now had a whole group of friends. I was able to show Jesus' love at school by making sure everyone had a friend. When we remember that Jesus washed feet, we remember to live with love and to live with faith. No matter who you are, you can follow Jesus' example. We can all love and serve in some way. We won't all wash feet, but we can all do something that shows someone that we care about them. Now it's time for you to wonder.
Well, thanks, Abigail. She was talking about showing love by helping and serving each other. And she was giving the example that she saw someone in the cafeteria where they were all having lunch, and the person was sitting alone, eating lunch by himself or herself. And so she thought about how sad that student must feel by being alone. So she reached out to her and included her. And boys and girls, it's not just all of you kiddos who sometimes feel alone. We adults have those same feelings, and sometimes we're by ourselves, and we're so thankful when somebody reaches out to us and pulls us in and includes us. So these are things that all of us can do. So, Good Samaritan, I have my Wonder Cube that has questions on it, and I'm going to give it the Diane little toss. It's not quite the Pam big toss, but when I toss it, will you read the question to the kids?
Sure, I love questions.
Okay. So, I should really get Brock up here to do this. All right, let me turn it. Okay. Here's the question. Are you ready? Okay, so you're going to say right here.
I wonder what helps you remember things. Owen, Harper, Delaney, Lila, Zaley, Jackson, what about you? There are a lot of things that we need to remember every day. Taking care of ourselves, brushing our teeth, washing our hands, wearing our mask when we go out of the house, dressing warm for the cold weather, and doing our chores around the house to help our loved ones. Those are just a few things. We also need to remember our good manners and be polite and kind to others. We need to remember to pick up our stuff around the house, our toys and our dirty clothes, and oh my goodness, there's a lot of stuff to remember.
I know it. And Good Samaritan, what very important things does Jesus want us to remember?
Oh yes, Jesus wants us to remember him. By praying and talking with Jesus, we are remembering him. When Jesus washed the disciples' feet, he wanted them to remember the action of love and service to others. When we come to church and Sunday school or watch it on Facebook, we're remembering Jesus. To remember is to think about and not forget your faith.
You are right, Good Samaritan. Well, in front of me I have our Wonder Box, and you know that each Sunday we put something in there that probably has to do with our Bible story. Any ideas, Good Samaritan? Or Ellie, or Luli, or Zoe, or Gabe, or Xander, or Brock? Any guesses what could be in there? Okay, well, let me open it up. And, it's a towel. Well, I guess that makes a lot of sense because in our Bible story, Jesus had wrapped a towel around his waist, and that's what he used to dry the disciples' feet. So think about serving others, and even if you aren't washing their feet, you can humbly serve them, think about others and their needs, and put those needs ahead of your own needs. So I'm going to put this towel over here. So right now we're ready to do our offering, and with your offering boxes that you colored way back in September, you got these. And I want to give a big thank you to all of you Sunday school families. You have been so generous. All the money from Sunday school goes to our church's Family Assistance Fund. And I know Pastor Robert talked about it again this morning, and we have been able to help so many people, maybe with paying their rent or paying a utility bill like electric or gas, or maybe buying food if they're short on food, all kinds of ways. And Pastor Robert and Pastor Laura talked about that. Our church has already given out over $10,000 since the pandemic started. Teresa's giving us a clap there. Yes, and it's because all of you have been so generous, so we're able to help so many people. So we are ready. We're going to be saying our prayers and Good Samaritan. I hope that you'll join us too. Let me get our prayers for you. And we always start with our Sunday school prayer that we have said for so many years. I know you know it by heart. Okay, so thank you, God, for all you do. We dedicate our gifts to you.
Amen.
Okay, and then we'll say the Lord's Prayer. And let me hold that up, and I know that you know this already too. All right. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Good job. Oh, and I wanted to mention, when you picked up your Sunday school bags this past Wednesday and Thursday, inside there was a new celebration chart. And it has all kinds of new ideas or activities that you can do. And remember, after you do them, it's kind of like playing bingo. If you want, you can put a little X through it. And maybe you want to do these so you can go all the way down or go all the way across. But after you do it, and then you can celebrate with your family. So when I was looking at this, I thought about, here's one that you could do at lunchtime. You could say a mealtime prayer with your family. Or you could do this afternoon. You could do a chore around your house or apartment. So they're not hard things, but they're acts of service and love that you can do to help out. And then you can always email Miss Pam back and tell her what you've done. So, Good Samaritan, I think the kids are ready to make their crafts. Want to help?
You bet. I loved to make crafts when I was a child.
Okay, so let me grab this. And Miss Lori thinks up all these crafts. And so it's March 7th. You're going to get all these things in your pouch. But I'll give you a clue. This is what hers looked like. You might have a little bit different. But she put feet in this little bowl and inside, and then she put some blue paper, and it says, serve others. Do this in remembrance of me. So I always like to have something that I can look at that helps me remember. So that is a pretty cool craft today. All righty. And also remember to take a picture, or have your mom or dad take a picture and send it to Miss Pam, and then Julie in our church office will get that on our church website. And I have to say, a lot of times we see Dalton or Ellie and Delaney and lots of the rest of you, so send those pictures. Not just us, but your whole church family likes to see those. Oh, as usual, this morning has gone so fast. We love sharing time with you. Let's see. It's always good, isn't it, Miss Diane, to remember what have we talked about today? Well, we read our Bible story, which talked about Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. And then we had our wonderful Good Samaritan with us. But boys and girls, I was trying to think of something that would help me to remind myself to serve others and care for others. And this sometimes helps me. So just take a minute, and sometimes you can even close your eyes if you want. Just pause. And then visualize, Jesus kneeling down, washing the disciples' feet and gently drying them. And that kind of helps me think about serving others. So we've learned so much from our special guest, the Good Samaritan. Maybe he will do a little review for us.
Jesus used my story of reaching out.
Oh, maybe the button? No. Or maybe Mr. Greg? I'm not sure. Oh. Okay. Oh, I think so.
Because it's not showing anything.
Yeah. You never know. You never know.
Jesus used my story of reaching out.
No.
No, it's still not coming.
Okay.
It's turned on. It just went off again.
Oh. Okay, try the right hand. Here, I'll hold this one. No, nothing?
I could talk a little louder if I need to.
Try this one more time.
Let's try it one more time. Jesus used my story of reaching out to help the robbed and beaten man at the side of the road as an example of helping a neighbor. I simply showed kindness and mercy to this man. Jesus also wants us all to know that everyone in the world is our neighbor.
Oh, thank you, Good Samaritan. I have learned so much from you today, and I know all the children have too. But for now, it's time for us to say goodbye, and we want you to have a great week, and we'll see you back here next Sunday. Have a good week.
Bye, friends. I had a good time with you all. Please be a good neighbor.
So Jesus
Bye-bye.
is
Bye, Brock.
in
Bye,
my-
Teresa.